Hello, everyone. Brian of the Chronicler's Tale. The topic I'm going to talk on today, uh, it's a very subtle thing, and I've been trying to find tangible words for all the tangible concept people. I'm forgetting all my Myers, Briggs, all the J's out there who need solid tangible stuff, not talking in concepts. But what I'm talking about is bingo. Society de-ossified. Prior to COVID, if you think about how society was, and obviously the older you are, the more you're going to be able to relate. And this is mainly American society that the focus is on. Society was, I suppose you could say, ossified in the way where you could use lines like, the more things change, the more they stay the same. You often heard the phrase, well, the poor get poor and the rich get rich, like the Stone Roses song, and that's how it goes. Everybody knows. And there was a lot of conventional wisdom that had gotten locked into place, where the path to success was graduate from high school, go to college. If you couldn't afford it, sorry, you can get grants, take out loans, get student loans. Then, because if you had a degree, you can get a better paying job or get a job and have it pay you better because you're educated and you have that level of education. And then pay off your loans. Then you get a home, a mortgage, have a family, go to, find and just do the whole suburbanized American dream. And you would have the normal ills. You'd have minority groups that had that repeated the same gripes, that had the same issues, that never got solved and were always there. And there was a lot of our institutions, a lot of our societal structure, a lot of the rules, and a lot of the institutions and the rules and the laws and the regulations and all the favoritism and the way we structured society was such so that those that could succeed would succeed. Those are the people who made the rules. And the people who didn't have political or economic strength, they suffered from whatever the rules were. And we reached a point where we didn't want to rock the boat. We wanted to have structure and stability in society. Oh no, there's a financial crisis. Well, have the Federal Reserve come bail things out so that we can go back to normal. There's a problem with this thing breaking down. Oh, there's riots. Well, we need to do something about it. So the bare minimum, there was talk and there was expression of concern, and the bare minimum was done, and nothing changed. Because that would require a level of truth and going outside of this Overton window of discussion and accepted topics and accepted solutions that would not be allowed, that could not be allowed, because that would change things, and that puts us at risk. That puts you at risk and me at risk. We can't risk our livelihoods. We can't risk there being changes that we can't adapt to. And and society became very ossified in that respect. And I'd noticed that for decades, and just how even as far back as the 90s with the stock market boom, I could just feel that if you've ever read the book, oh gosh, Gary Zukav's book, The Seed of the Soul, where essentially we're all on a path, kind of in attenuated and in harmony with source. Sometimes we veer off that path, and that's when chaos happens. That's when distortions happen. That's when illness happens. That's when conflict happens. When we veer away from the central guiding harmony of the universe, that's when discord in one manifestation or another happens. on a personal level, on a family level, a group level, a societal level, a global cultural level. And we'd made rules and taken actions financially, economically, legally to fight against that. Our interests were going off course, but whenever something happened, whenever we veered off course and there was a break, be it like a financial breakdown, a financial collapse, some sort of calamity, we would bend the rules to maintain, that would be the equivalent of when our body breaks down and gets sick and says, hey, something that you're doing is causing illness in me, in your body. There's something out of harmony with energy, with source. You're doing something wrong. You need to alter and change your behaviors and learn from this. And our society, our civilization, it didn't. It kept veering and staying on this aberrant course, and things that were little illnesses became worse. Chronic poverty, underrepresentation. You'd have your people who talk about the distortions and the things that we are doing wrong. They would be, yeah, they got some great ideas. Yeah, great. What time does the game start? I think of like the Terrence McKenna's of the world, people who saw things at a very deep level and had an understanding of this, had an understanding of how people were, how civilization was, and how we were walking down the path with misguided thoughts and beliefs and actions and consequences of this. That's why, for a lot of people, it's like, wow, that guy had foresight. No, he didn't. He just had a mind detached from the herd and was able to see what the perspective of the herd could not, because they were walking the path, and he needed someone who had walked off the path to go, hey, if you keep going that way, it's going to crumble and you're going to face some bad consequences there. You should change course. And then COVID hit. And it was interesting. There's a guy, Lee Harris. He does channeled messages or channel communications, call it that. And his guides were saying, this is nice. I went back and I saved this in March of 2020 when he does like a monthly update. One of the things that he said was, our guides are saying there's going to be hardship, but this is a very necessary thing that's happening. And the one thing I observed after a little bit of time was COVID broke everything, because we had a situation that forced us and threw in our face something that needed to be addressed, that could not be ignored. It broke everything. And the ills that our society built, as far as institutions and sort of the social contracts with that, and the actions that people in those positions of authority and influence who guide those things, all of your Davos crowd, your secret societies, all the people in the positions of power and wealth, and the people who in those positions to make those rules and help shape the direction of opinion, they acted in exactly the manner that our world up to that point permitted and was allowing covertly, quietly to go on, but which, because everything was thrown in our face, became overt. And that's when we said, oh, hell no, we don't want this world. We don't want a totalitarian world of 24/7 online digital surveillance. We don't want a world that stomps all over our rights as sovereign human beings under some sort of banner of collective good. Everything. Trusted institutions rightly fell. And we don't we don't trust, and now trust needs to be reestablished. And I think where we are now, we are at a point where we are reorganizing ourselves. A lot of the buffers that pre-COVID civilization had, they're gone. They're gone. They're gone, everyone. Never coming back. One way I see this expressed is like online expression through memes. Memes post-COVID, oh man, they're unbelievable. Unbelievable. The level of expression and the intensity, the brutality of humor. I've often quipped that this goes back a year when I made the observation that we're never going to have a period of time where the memes have as much impact and kick on reactions as they do now. Now as time drags on, I'm thinking maybe it's that starting now, the memes, and as a signal of a human expression. There's a rawness to it, a rawness and a directness that defines them that pre-COVID we didn't have. Pre-COVID would be more like in the League of Dad humor and oh, hypothetical world. Oh yeah, it was what if world. We're not living in what if world anymore, kids. We're living in hard reality smacking our faces, and we have to deal with it. And so in a way, and you can see that just a lot of the old ways like music and cinema, all the old ways, they're dead, they're dying. They have to transform. They can no longer be ideological. They have to they don't express what our experience is now. It's alternative reality. Using generic labeling, a lot of the Hollywood stuff that was all wokey and in nature, that doesn't reflect the world we are in and that we're dealing with every moment of every day. And that's why no one wants to see that crap. Maybe an alternative, pre-COVID, we could have gone for that. We'd have watched that. We'd have probably put up with that a lot more than now. Now we're not putting up with that crap. Give us gritty, give us real. That's why Andor's so cool, because it's gritty, it's real, and doesn't have ideological overtones to it. Thank God. Other note, tomorrow is Andor Day, so if you're a fan, fingers crossed that the quality of season 1 carries through to season 2. Moving on. I think you could definitely say, in one respect, we're readjusting ourselves now, and we're almost getting used to, if you look at things, I look at things from a personal experience, I see it reflected in society at large. Like COVID, it was learning to get along with people because you are sharing intimacy of space with your family on a level, in my case, that I did not before. So we had to learn to share that space and get along. And that was happening on a societal level too, getting used to and accepting people's uniqueness, the differences between you and them, and learning to create boundaries of what is acceptable to share and express with one another and the parameters of that expression. And I think that on a societal level, with the gloves off, another little side note here, I made the joke that post-COVID, the buffer that pre-COVID civilization had that helped protect the stupid people is gone now. And natural selection is able to do its thing, where stupid people do stupid stuff. And that thing is stripped, where when people make bad decisions, the consequences of natural selection, we're not buffered from the consequences of our choices. And that's a good thing, because human civilization needs to learn from stupidity. And the nice thing is we have the internet to illustrate these things. We have the benefit of social media to be able to get ideas out there and hash this out. So I think not only does social media amplify something, partly manipulated by algorithms, but also it helps get an idea out faster. So it spreads, gets digested, and then either evolves or dies and withers on the vine. But back to the main point, human civilization, I think we're also in an adjustment period, or like a correction period, where the way we're living now is more attenuated to how we should be living versus the pre-COVID ossified society. And there's some people who are trying to go back to that, but it's impossible. It is impossible. Too many minds have been woken up from its sleep, and we can only go forward. And if you were to throw in the layer of, I've mentioned the fourth turning before, here and on other channels that I publish on. And the whole idea was that it's like a societal cycle where every fourth generation you have a cycle where the institutions that were created as a result of tumultuous, crazy and circumstances the previous cycle around, they start to break down, and eventually you go through a period where they fall apart and they're replaced with something new. And that's what you could say we're going through that right now. So we're going through a period of adjustment where there's going to be a lot of chaos and chaoticness, and that's why I'm not too worried, because we'll figure things out and we'll be fine. And people are doing a lot of stupid stuff. I mean, a lot of stupid stuff, but it's there for everyone to see, so we can criticize it and go, yeah, that's stupid. We're not okay with that. Stop doing it. You're pretty much you're doing this within a glass house, and you're doing it within a fish bowl. So the stupid stuff you do breaks the windows, and it's there for everyone to see. So don't let yourself get wrapped up. Hey, you want to get wrapped up in drama? That's your thing. I don't really care. That's how I make it through the world. There's just stuff where I don't care about because it's passing and it's not going to lead to a permanent condition. You take the blows as you get them, and you got to be like Rocky Balboa. Got to keep going. Not saying that it's fun, dear God, but it's just where we're at. There are better times ahead, so I'm not worried. But yeah, that was it. That's what I'm trying to point out and get those words out and those thoughts that the world has changed, and there were necessary changes, and this is where we're at. So, all right, I'll wrap it up there. Thanks for tuning in. You can follow Chronicler's Tale on all the social media websites listed in the show notes. And with that, be well, everyone, and talk to you soon.